Greetings, and thank you for being here with us today via this YouTube live stream. I would like to welcome you to our post-DNC event. We had our pre-DNC event last Sunday. I am Dr. Akila Mukaram. I'm president of the Afro-Descendant Nation, a government that has been established for us, in which we can all have liberty, regardless of religious beliefs, ideologies, etc. All honor and praise due to the Honorable Salas Muhammad for his leadership and guidance. So in our pre-DNC event on Sunday night, the Afro-Descendant Nation, the NCOBRA Chicago chapter, and Reparations United requested that the DNC add reparations to their agenda. Full and complete reparations will help us achieve self-determination as an Afro-descendant people. And note I said people, a people that has been damaged, a people whose identity was destroyed intentionally. So our international covenant, the United Nations International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, acronym ICCPR, in Article 1 states that all peoples have the right of self-determination. Note that word, peoples, not individuals, peoples. So us as a people, an Afro-descendant people. So by virtue of this right, we can freely determine our own political status and freely, note freely, pursue our economic, social, and cultural development. If you notice in 2, all peoples may, to their own ends, we can freely dispose of our own natural wealth and resources. And it should be without prejudice to any obligations arising out of international economic cooperation. So we have that as a people. This is as a people. Now the states are not supposed to be interfering with that, and they should promote the realization of our right as an Afro-descendant people to self-determine, to have self-determination, and they should respect that right. And it says in conformity with the provisions of the Charter of the United Nations. Okay, so we know that we haven't had that here in America. So they are not abiding truly by that. So our reparations, Miranda Alexandria, the co-chair of the NCOBRA Chicago chapter, shared with us 5 forms of reparations on Sunday, last Sunday night in our pre-DNC event. 1 was restitution, 1 was compensation, rehabilitation, satisfaction, and the non-repetition of these heinous acts of discrimination, abuse, everything that we have suffered. It guarantees that there's non-repetition of it. Now I say, since Vice President Harris's husband is Jewish, perhaps he can help us use the Jewish materials claim against Germany as a framework for us as an Afro-descendant people to achieve reparations from the United States of America. So I'm putting that out there. So now let's let your voices be heard for a moment. And taking a moment, if you can take out your phones, our viewing audience, and again, thank you so much for being on with us at this time. You can text the word reparations to 877-52184. This will take you to our plebiscite, the Afro-Descendant Nations plebiscite, so that you can have a voice, a vote into what you want. It looks like this that's sharing on the screen right now. So this is our National Reparations plebiscite. So you're going to text the word reparations with an S to 877-506-2184. Let your voices be heard. Now you're in for a treat. Our guests today, they'll share a little bit about themselves, their take on the DNC, and what they may have participated in or offered during that week of the DNC, what they're working on, and any plans to move forward. So our first guest that we have on with us right now is my sister, Lakeisha Latham of the Comrade Worrell Community Reparations Commission. So, Lakeisha, welcome.
Thank
you
you.
have the floor.
You.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. It's my sister who I love. We love your spirit. We are so happy and pleased to be here today with the Afro-Descendant Nation. Dr. Akila, you are amazing. You know my sentiment for you. I am Lakeisha Latham. I am one of the board members for the Comrade Worrell Community Reparations Commission. And we have been advocating in Chicago for reparations since 2019 with Alderman Sawyer. I think we started with Dr. Willie Wilson, of course, Dr. Conrad Worrell, Cam Howard, Beatrice Boyce, and the first legislation for a commission was voted successfully during that time frame, 47-2. So we were kind of disappointed when Mayor Lightfoot changed her decision and decided to establish a subcommittee on reparations instead of allowing us to have that commission back in 2019. So during the DNC, we were really excited to hear that it was coming to Chicago. So what we did was we knew Dr. Conrad Worrell's birthday. His birthday is on August 15th. So with the start of the DNC being on the 19th, we wanted to create a reparations rally just to kind of do something to highlight reparations during the DNC week. So that was actually pretty successful. I know we had hundreds that registered for the event. So we will be able to, of course, activate those people that signed up. We had hundreds of people that participated on the inside of the gym, but also we have a lot of food trucks outside. So there were people outside as well that were getting a chance to participate in the Chicago Reparations Rally. Dr. Akila, you were there. We had great speakers from the Afro-Descendant Nation in participation. We had Jamoke, who represented, Reparations United. We had Black Roots Alliance. We had Encober Chicago there, and as well as E. So the success of the rally, we feel, was really great because not only did we have local leaders in reparations, but we had national leaders that, traveled to come in from Kansas City. We had people that traveled, from different states to participate in the rally. But then we were also able to kind of bridge that intergenerational kind of gap because we included the book bag component. We were able to bring mothers and children and fathers and, families together in the space of reparations. So being able to advocate for reparations during that week was really important. It didn't get the floor recognition. I got a chance to participate in the DNC on Thursday during Kamala Harris's speech, and that day was very interesting because not only did they highlight, different aspects of our Black life. They had the gentlemen from New York that were incarcerated wrongly. Al Sharpton, Reverend Al Sharpton was there to speak. So it kind of gave you hope as if we could obtain reparations, but I'll say this, it's disappointing because there really didn't seem to be necessarily spelled out what they're calling Black agenda, and I'll use my air quotes, Black agenda. So that's disappointing. I get that we're going to have an all agenda. So when going forward for reparations, I think nationally and locally, we are really excited that Mayor Brandon Johnson signed the executive order 2024-1 on June 17th to establish the task force. But then, you spoke about the 5 components of reparations as defined by the UN. And one of those is that satisfaction component. And he gave a formal apology, which is one of those qualifying factors under satisfaction. He apologized on behalf of the city of Chicago for its involvement in chattel slavery. So that was really exciting. And I knew we were going to get the announcement of the task force, but when he issued a formal apology, you would have thought I won the Super Bowl, or maybe I had won the lottery, but it was such a great moment for our people with reparations that I don't think people even understood the gravity of what had just happened. So that's kind of locally. Nationally, you couldn't have paid me to believe that we were going to get this opportunity that Joe Biden would step down and actually endorse Kamala Harris. That was so profound to me, just because it was a game changer. Only because of the power. We understand the power in our vote. Well, our points across and rallying together. But this created such an interesting dynamic because Joe Biden was not strong enough to carry the vote or to win the election. And that's why they shifted. He could not. And then we had Donald Trump on the other hand, and of course, the Kennedy. So it's kind of, it seems like there is a situation where we have such great power in our vote. And I know Cam talks about the Black vote. And in the Earn the Black vote, he states that 2.9 million Black votes made the difference in the last election. And if that is if you think about that, then they're solely dependent on our votes to make whatever president. And if it is done right, whether it's a organization and mobilization, to activate for reparations and taking it seriously going forward, I think we're at a point where we'll never see this moment again if we don't take full, gravity of it. we're in such an amazing, powerful position right now in this election cycle, and to be taken seriously. So, one of the things that we, the Conrad World Community Reparations team, came up with is during the mayoral forum, we asked, the candidates for mayor to support a reparations agenda, just a letter of commitment. We met with Paul Vallis and team. We met with Mayor Brandon Johnson's team at the time, and they both committed to a reparations plan for Chicago. So we took that same theory and methodologies and we applied it to this presidential election for all candidates. Because regardless of who is going to win, I have my personal opinions, but as far as the corporation goes and our 501c3, we have to give that to all of them. And if we want a real agenda, we have got to present that and let people know we are serious. And in ours, we had, I think, 5 different components. HR 40 was on the table, reestablishing affirmative action. We also put in there creating a protective class or group for the descendants of enslaved. I think House Res 414, which was I think it's 14 trillion from Corey Bush. And then the 5th one that we had in there was just I guess we pretty much, reserved the right to whatever it needed to look like for us to decide what we needed from the harms that happened legislatively and to us historically as people. And then it was suggested that we actually put in there a 6th, and that was to overturn the Dred Scott decision by Sister Zakiya Muhammad. So just things that made sense that we know historically have been harming us. We're in a time frame where it's time to take the gloves off. It's time to change all the things that are hindering us because it will help all of us. So, it's not reparations isn't a Black agenda. Our slogan for Kamala Harris is but reparations is an all agenda. And that's the truth. So, I thank you. If you have any questions, I'm more than willing, to answer, but I know we have other guests. So I thank you, Dr. Akila, for allowing me this time to just kind of share, but we would love your insight and we would be willing to share the document for you to review.
Thank you so much, Lakeisha. I really enjoyed hearing that. I know you've mentioned it to me before, but each time it just feels better and better. So thank you so much. As you stated, it's a prime opportunity for us, all of us, and it's a prime opportunity for our identity to be accepted as a people, and which I think Chicago is like one of the forerunners, if not the forerunner, in providing this type of work with this closely with the mayor, even. So and putting all of this together it just seems like he's really committed to moving this forward and doing right by Afro-descendant people. So thank you so much for sharing that. There will be an opportunity for us to take some questions in the Q&A, and some of the listening audience or viewing audience will probably have some questions that they may want to pose, and we'll answer those or direct those to you as they come in. So thank you so much again for being here and sharing that wonderful information with us.
Thank you.
So at this time, we're going to have a young sister that I met at Cam Howard's event on Wednesday. It's a strategic session, and the watch party. We were all there together from about 2 p.m. until 9:30 p.m. at night. So yeah, we got a chance to talk and then had some fellowshipping together during the intercession between when the strategic session let out and the watch party picked up. So we had a little time with some food and some good treats there. So at this time, our young sister again is going to share some information about herself and also her take on the DNC and anything that she participated in or did during the DNC, what she's working on, and any plans to move forward. Tara, thank you so much for being here with us, and you have the floor. Your mic is off.
Sorry. Hi, everybody. Thank you, Dr. Akila, for inviting me today. I am Tara Perry. I am founder of Black Pact, that's BLACKPACT, and the Reparationist Collective. I attended the DNC I arrived Monday, so I was there for the whole week. And I pretty much went there to meet with other reparationists in the movement, to do some organizing around getting language to Kamala Harris's campaign. We met with a campaign manager of hers, and we provided reparations language for what we'd like to see when Joe Biden and Kamala Harris won in the election in 2020. We did a demonstration in DC, which was originally scheduled for the inauguration, but because of January 6th, DC was shut down, so we had to move it to February 14th of that year. And at that time, we provided language for an immediate reparations executive commission to be impaneled within the first 100 days. Other ancillary issues like veteran housing and VA benefits to be reenacted, retroactively activated for Black veterans who were denied such benefits and their families, COVID relief address, things of that nature, which they never responded to. So when we got the opportunity to meet with a campaign manager of Kamala Harris's, we submitted all of those documentations. We were hoping that Thursday night she would have rolled out some type of reparative justice plan, which she did not. I had tickets to attend the DNC all of the nights. I only attended Tuesday just because it was so much going on. We did the watch party on Wednesday with Cam Howard and all of the other organizations that were in attendance. And so Thursday night, and going to meet with our person to provide us with credentials, they were arrested for demonstrating. So we didn't go to the DNC to be swept up and drank the Kool-Aid, even being there what was that? The Tuesday night when the Obamas were there. I mean, it was so crazy. It was so many people, and they gave out so many tickets where you just could not even sit down or even go into the tunnels to even watch. So, I think the DNC definitely made or the Democratic Party had a misstep in that. Like, not even just giving out tickets, they shut down certain sections that were not shut down previously. So there was an entire rear section, I guess, because of Secret Service security, requirements. They completely shut it down, so which left no seats for people. And so thousands of people had to leave and go and watch at a watch party at the corner at the Billy Goat Tavern. But it was an interesting experience. If I were super excited about the Kamala Harris campaign, I would have totally loved it, I'm sure. I think the Democrats did a great job in energizing people for the race, but I think they did a poor job in rolling out any type of specific policies, not only for us and our movement, they just did a poor job in rolling out policy, period. So it just kind of fell flat. So if I weren't a disgruntled Democrat, I would have, I would have still ended up being disappointed because there was still nothing to provide besides we hate Donald Trump, and that's not enough anymore. Actually before the watch party, when we met for the strategy session with Reparations United and all the other organizations in attendance, I made a comment about there was a young lady who was a speaker, and she was a Delta, and she talked about how she got reparations, or the focus of reparations, to be added to their national agenda, and how with that she got their local Delta chapter to be allowed to do certain local legislation to push in Atlanta. And I guess they wanted to have advocates, or to have more people from Delta and or D9 organizations to empower them to educate and advocate for reparations. When I spoke and I said, she said everything but donate, right? Because we saw the D9 organizations raise over $4 million for Kamala Harris within 48 hours. Why has there been no efforts for raising money for the fight for reparations? John Conyers have been introducing this bill since 1989. After he passes away, Sheila Jackson Lee takes over HR 40 and now becomes the lead sponsor on the bill. And still there's no movement. I think Sheila Jackson Lee is also she's AKA, right? She was an AKA, right? May she rest. But why has there never been this type of political activation on the D9's behalf? So Dr. Akila came to me and asked me to speak more about that and to share more about my thoughts in this meeting. I wanted to just really preface that I am a lineage-based reparations organization, or my organization is, but we are looking to work with anybody who wants to work with us in terms of getting reparations, making reparations a part of the national conversation, and just continuing to do the work, whether we differ on lineage-based or race-based or Afro-descendant nation titles. I just wanted to be clear that that's where my organization stands, but we can't just keep having these conversations in our silos, right? We have to have them in places where they matter, as like an executive commission would make more sense, where we can have these different debates about what we're going to be called and who we are and who's including reparations and who's not, rather, because we're not getting any work done. We're spending so much time on the lower level just arguing amongst each other instead of moving forward together just to get work done, to make this a part of the national conversation. Seeing how a lot of the things we went to Chicago to attain did not come into fruition. So we're looking to also be in attendance at the CBC week. What is that? The annual legislative conference in DC from September 11th to the 15th. And of course, we'll be in other places with other organizations that are looking to push reparations forward. So we're looking at a busy fall for us. But if I put together just a brief presentation, just some more so, let me see if I can, no, let me do that. I understand, like, there are a lot of our organizations who are doing work in the reparation space, but what's going overlooked is, it may not be, right? It may be going overlooked on my organization's end, but I wanted to discuss how much funding this movement needs. When I talked about the D9 and them contributing to the reparations movement, we need to create avenues where dollars can be funneled, not just to my organization or your organization. We need a central place where we can pool funds from the everyday people, and not even just in the movement. I want to really target upper echelon Black Americans, because we should not continue to expect um, uh, poor Black people to fund our movement. We're already living hand to mouth just to live every day now. And a lot of us activists come from there as well. And we have to be in places. We have to go to DC and lobby. We have to go to the the CBC week, right? We have to be in places so we can be in their faces, because when we're not there and we're not present, they think that we're not as activated or not as passionate. We're watching them create give deliverables to other groups, other races, other minority groups, or the LGBT community. They're present, they're there. So if we can't be there ourselves, we have to be able to send people. When we're talking about how much money they're sending to Ukraine, Ukraine had thousands of lobbyists that made contact with legislators within that first week of, them going into war, right? They made contact with like 130,000 times within a week's time. And that's kind of the level of lobbying we're gonna have to do to let these people know we are serious about reparations. And unfortunately, we're one of the only groups not funding our movement. I will see if I can share my screen. Let's see if we can do that. Let's see. Let's see if we can allow workspace to share thing. Sorry, one moment.
It looked like we lost Tara. She was trying to share her screen. So we'll give her a little time to get back on. And
She's already done.
yes, Lakeisha.
Yeah, I quite enjoy her, and the energy, and the kind of old school activism for Tara. And one of the things that we've kind of been talking to, and we actually brought this up to Mignon Moore, the chair for the Democratic National Convention, about activating, like 2 million. Could you just imagine us organizing 2 million of our people to the White House, to kind of flex that power. So I think, the anniversary of the Million Man March is October 16th, 1995. I know they're planning on doing something milestone for next year's 30th, but we won't be in this position next year. We will actually have a president established. So I think what Tara is saying for those activations, not just at the the CBC, but leading up to October 16th would be amazing. So I really enjoy you, Tara. Now that you're back, I can say that. Thank you. I can't wait. I love this activist spirit you have.
Thank you so much. Sorry about that. I guess I'm having some kind of technical difficulties. The slide is
Tara,
excuse
me, would you like to share it in the chat, and the chief of staff can
if I can
share it on the screen for you?
let me see if I can do that. Okay, you can come back to me and then we can fire it up when we're ready.
Well, I'm gonna echo what Lakeisha said. Yes, it's great to see our young people with this activist movement going on. So we appreciate you. I observed you while we were out at the event where we met Dr. Cornell West, and I think it was the one of the anchors for CBS was speaking to you, and he was all in. He was dressed really sharp.
Oh, he was a candidate.
Oh, he's a candidate.
Yeah,
oh,
he's
candidate for what?
He was running for president, and and he's a congressional and a congressional candidate in Nevada.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a little creepy.
Okay. Yes, I was watching because he was like all into whatever you were saying to him. So
You know,
Said, okay.
he was more so asking, how can we do reparations without calling it reparations and how to disguise it? I'm like, I don't know. I'm a full-throated
Okay.
reparationist. Like,
Really though? Why would you even ask a question like that?
mhm.
Why were the Jewish people able to call it reparations, get reparations, get land that was not theirs?
Right.
That's why there's so much unrest between them. They have taken Palestinian Arab land
Yes.
with a false claim. So the 400-year-old slaves, well, 400 plus, because we're in an updated fashion of slavery now, that's Afro descendants. Let that be known to everyone. Not the Jewish people. They never served 400 years in slavery, so they are not the slave children. Those are Afro descendants from enslaved ancestors. So correction on that part, and everybody needs to correct that. And there needs to be an apology from them concerning that, and some reparations. Stealing a people's identity. So you've stolen a person's people's identity. And now we have our new identity, which is powerful in this moment to achieve reparations. And we must do it in unity with one another. So again, with the plebiscite, I'm going to say the plebiscite number again while Tara is getting her slides up. And again, Tara, if you want to drop the link to the slides in the chat, the chief of staff can share it from there, access it and share it from there. So,
Okay, I'm working on that now.
Okay, so again, let's type reparations to 877-506-2184. How sinister this enslavement was of our ancestors. What a sinister plan to destroy a people by the United States of America. And to this day, they're still not acknowledging, I say, in a way that is satisfactory for me, that because they still have, we're 3/5 of a human being. So now VP Harris in her campaign for president will be, if she wins that, will be the president of this country with that in the Constitution. In the pre-DNC event that we had on last Sunday night, I put out a request for President Joe Biden, since he is still in office, to remove that. Or, excuse me, make an amendment, because it is part of the history. Make an amendment to it, because we need our human rights. Civil rights were good during their time and have taken us to a different level, but we lost so much, even with the civil rights. You know, now our businesses are gone. They destroyed Tulsa, Black Wall Street. I mean, everything. The United States of America does not mean Afro-descendant people any good at all. So what they can do that's good is assist us in achieving our self-determination by paying us full and complete reparations in this hour. And not years and years from now. You can get started right now, because we shouldn't have to wait. We've been here with you all this time, and no affirmative action is not full and complete reparations. And then plus you've taken that back. So, and when our children come and our children's children come, it'll be the same thing. So what we need is land so that we can be sustainable, a fully sustainable Afro-descendant nation with our government for Afro-descendant people. And we'll take some territory here, some land here, so we can get started in building. And while we're working on with you and those others in the United Nations on getting us our land that we deserve as a people, so that we can put our government on and have it flourish. Okay, we deserve so much more than you have offered or offering now. Joy is not going to get it, because we're not feeling joy, because for one thing, I keep thinking about the ghettos that my people are living in. I keep thinking about the projects that my people are still living in. How are they going to have joy? I don't even have it. I can't. It's about us as a people, and then us perpetuating our own Afro-descendant people, government, and nation. So that's where I am. But the United States of America, this is some sinister plans and all of these workings that you did to destroy us as a people, and saying that slavery was a long time ago or enslavement was a long time ago. We're still suffering from that trauma that comes through the bloodline, because our foreparents dealt with that. It doesn't go away. The baby, the child, when the mother is carrying it, is feeling everything that the mother is feeling. And you knew that when you hung the pregnant, your foreparents hung our pregnant mothers on trees and cut the baby out of their womb and crushed its skull in the ground, while your white children were standing around, your foreparents' white children were standing around eating popcorn. How sick is that? So, full and complete reparations. Put reparations on the agenda for Afro-descendants. Our request to the DNC. Tara?
I'm trying to, can your chief of staff send me her email in the chat, because it's not letting me drop the file here directly.
Okay, so the email that I sent you, do a reply. You can reply all.
Okay.
And okay, and then she'll get it from there. Okay.
Can I just double? I'm what's it called? Double task. But like, there was I think Ms. Latham made a comment earlier about how they brought out the exonerated 5, and you mentioned how you can't steal people's identity. So I was on Indisputable on TYT some years back, and when they were talking about the John Lewis Voting Rights Act, and I was like, well, that's great, but we need to have a real conversation about what does it mean, right? Because what they're trying to do is take our history, our story of voter disenfranchisement and put it on another group of people that it does not belong to. And I mentioned, they never asked me back to the show, but I mentioned how, they're trying to, instill fear in Black Americans and and not truly addressing what the bill does and reenacting a lot of those the clearances that were required previously that were taken out by Shelby v. Holder. These are now predominantly Latino populated areas, these counties. So a lot of people haven't done that work, and yet they name this the John Lewis Voting Rights Act, but Black people are not the folks who are the target of that bill. And that's another example of the Democratic Party stealing our story to bestow it among another group of people. And it's just, it's not only unfair, but it's just gotten to be very ridiculous at this point. Dropping the phone now. Yeah, we definitely have to call them on that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. All right. It is great to see you, James, Afro Elite. Okay, Tara, while we're waiting for your slide presentation, we'll go ahead and have James share his information with you. So we're asking you to share your introduce yourself with everyone, share your name and anything you want to about yourself. Also, your take on the DNC, anything you participated in or did, and also what you're working on and any plans to move forward. And thank you so much. I know you're working, so thank you for popping in with us. We appreciate you.
Of course. Thank you for the invite.
You're welcome.
I'm gonna try to be as brief with the introduction as possible. My name is James McCoy. I go by Afro Elite. I have a YouTube platform which led to social and political activism. Also, as far I would say I'm a social political activist / journalist as well too, and commentator, which I do virtually and in person. I've spoken at a couple rallies, a couple different events. I've participated with different political campaigns, as far as helping start up and keep and maintain and promote a number of Black-owned businesses. One of the things that I'm working on now is in Chicago, we're trying to get this a campaign, a contract. I'm sorry. We're trying to get all coming up next month in September. So we're working on the details for that so we can get voted on by the city council. So I'm just trying to be as brief as possible with that. As far as the DNC was it was fun. It was a lot of joy. It was a lot of nice performances. The production was very well. I will give them credit where credit is due. However, they were very light on policies, especially pertaining to the Black community. The Black community seemed like we were not yet. Kamala Harris was going to speak on reparations. The word reparations was never addressed one time. The word Black was barely ever addressed, except to make a joke about Black jobs. So Black people are always put on the back burner when it comes to everybody's, or the Democratic Party specifically, political campaign. What I think needs to be done is, due to the neglect from the DNC, we need to, as the Black community, make a very strong stance, and we need to unite together, make a very strong stance that if the Democrats continue to neglect us while they're still in office right now, Kamala's still in office, Biden's still in office, they still have the ability to do something now. They can sign executive orders. They can start things getting circulated in the House right now. If they continue to neglect us, they will not have our support coming up in this election this November. The fear of Donald Trump, the fear of the Republicans, the fear of the GOP, that's not enough to get Black people to guarantee their support, to continue to support us. We've been falling for this carrot on the stick, this hamster wheel for generations now, and it is about time that we stop. And I'm glad to see a number of us start to recognize and wake up. So that's what I believe our political movement needs to be. We need to spread the narrative that if the Democratic Party, not just Kamala or Biden, the whole party does not do anything tangible before the election, then they will have proven that they do not deserve the Black vote.
Elite. Thank you for popping on with us for a few minutes because I know you're on a tight schedule. All right.
Thank you.
I'm
Thank you.
I'm
I
okay to you to do
apologize
this.
for being late, but I wanted to make sure I was here. But thank you for inviting me, of course.
Oh, you're very welcome. And anytime, I'll be in touch with you, okay? I know you're busy.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Have a great day.
You too.
Thank you. Okay, so did we get Tara's slides? Well, while we're waiting to have the slides come up, we can take a few questions from the YouTube chat if there are any. Brother Shahid. If you're speaking, your mic is off. Okay, all right. Thank you so much.
Did it come out like that? It must have reformatted itself.
It just needs to be in slide view.
Uh,
Okay, there you go.
oh, well, it's a different format, I guess, but it's okay.
Oh,
It's fine. Hello, everybody. Again, this is Tara Perry here. And I wanted to speak to you today about one of the most pressing issues of our time. Of course, we know this is reparations. That's why we're all here. Sorry, I cannot see your thing. Okay, we can do the next slide as well to the introduction, please. Okay. The movement is not just about rectifying past wrongs. It's about securing the economic freedom and equity that generations of systemic racism have denied. This presentation, titled Fund Our Freedom, will outline the need for financing and the ways we can mobilize resources that can make reparations a reality. Next slide, please. The case for reparations is clear. For centuries, Black American descendants of chattel slavery have been subjected to slavery, of course, Jim Crow laws, redlining, mass incarceration, and more, all of which have contributed to the racial and lineage wealth gap. According to the Color of Wealth report by Dr. William Sandy Darity, the median Black household wealth is approximately 1/10 that of white households. Reparations are about addressing this economic lineage wealth gap, ensuring that Black descendants of U.S. chattel slavery have the means to thrive and not just survive. Next slide, please. The reparations movement requires extensive financial support for several key areas. We have advocacy and policy development, research and data collection, organizing and mobilization, legal support, as well as a cultural shift. Next slide. Fund Our Freedom strategy. We can finance the reparations movement through a variety of means: philanthropy, crowdfunding, corporate partnerships, government grants, and public financing and investment funds and trusts. I bring that up because there's also other philanthropic groups there's some groups, I believe Liberation Ventures is one of them. They decided that lineage-based organizations, they want to fund Black-led movement groups, but they refuse to fund Black-led movement groups that are lineage-based, and that is also discriminatory. We can't have organizations in this movement that are practicing discrimination among other Black-led groups in the very same way that white supremacists do, right? We have to call those organizations out, and we have to make sure that they're willing to either work with us or we find other people who are willing to work with us. Next slide, please. Mobilizing the Black community. We also need to mobilize within our own communities. We want to target the upper middle class, D9 organizations, and of course, we would encourage smaller donations from Black Americans who are of the lower economic spectrum, but that shouldn't be our focus. I think people who want to be a part of the movement and who want to give $5 donations, $10 donations it's just fine, but I don't think that should be our actual focus. Next slide, please. We're gonna do a call of action. So what can you do? Of course, you can donate, you can connect, you can invest. And by contributing to the funding of this movement, you are directly supporting the fight for justice, equality, and lasting change. And that's it. In our conclusion, thank you for your time today. The reparations movement is not just a political or social movement, it is an economic one. By financing the efforts to repair the centuries-long harm done to Black Americans, we are collectively investing in our future where equity, justice, and freedom are the standard for all. The time to act is now. Fund our freedom, because without financial power, freedom remains a dream deferred.
Thank you, Tara. Thanks so much. I'm
You're
glad
welcome.
we were able to get your slides up as well.
Thank you.
Okay, so we are about at the time to end. And let's see. Okay, there's a question for you in the chat. Curious about Liberated Venture. What is their reason not to fund lineage-based reparations? So if you can kind of wrap that up, and then I'll wrap up in a minute.
That would be a question for Liberated Ventures. We know that in the last grant that they issued out, the call for people to apply, they disqualified lineage-based organizations.
Okay, thank you. Lakeisha, was that fine? Okay, all right, thank you. So I want to thank you all again so much for being on with us today with the Afro-Descendant Nation. This has been great, and looking forward to working together, our collaborations together, and moving us forward as an Afro-Descendant people. So again, to our listening and viewing audience, if you have any questions, you can reach out to us at afrodescendant.org. And also just a reminder to complete the plebiscite. Let your voices be heard and what you want. That number you're going to text reparations to. So remember, reparations with an S is 877-506-2184. Again, that's 877-506